welcome to my live. Today is July 30th at 9:30 a.m. 9:37. Today is Proverbs 18:21. Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. That's the verse of the day. Check out Linktree/Genius Linktree/Take Me Deeper podcast, and Linktree/Treasures of the Hill. And if you want to donate to the fundraising, go to ko-fi.com/Daniel's Christian Content. We are going to listen to Take Me Deeper podcast on Spotify. This is November 30th in 2025. It is a weekly podcast, and we started in 2025, so we're just going to the oldest one to the newest one. We'll be there in no time. So enjoy the live and enjoy the podcast.
Jesus, won't you take me deeper into the very heart of God? Ooh, Lord, help me to know your will. Father, the strength to carry on, 'cause I wanna go where you send me, and I wanna be what you made me. So may all of the other room in my heart burn. Lord, may all of the other room in my heart burn.
Welcome to episode 23 of Take Me Deeper. I am Casey Hill.
I am Nate Dudley.
Before we get started, I do want to say when Aaron brought that up at the 10:30 service, when he said putting people into service because, that person should probably be in service, or to help them grow by putting them in service. When I first got saved and started going to FBC, that was one of the things, like, I remember saying, where can we be used or whatever. We got put in nursery. I did enjoy nursery, did it with my wife. And then we went to the 2 and 3s, going up to middle school. I should not have been thrown into that. I was not spiritually ready for that battle.
Yeah, that's what Aaron was saying is, you get someone who barely has any knowledge of God in him.
Mm-hmm.
And you're throwing them into that kind of situation, and you're going to burn out so fast.
Yeah. And I get it. It's the 80-20 rule. 80% of the work is done by 20% of the people. And that's not just a church thing. I think we've had that conversation
everywhere.
Before. It is.
I would even put it closer to 90-10, to be honest.
Probably. And when you have that kind of a dynamic, burnout is there. Throwing somebody in just because you think that's where they should be. It's one thing if you're proving yourself, like Aaron's talked about seeing the fruit.
Well, I mean, there's a verse in Isaiah that talks about how God gives you those spiritual wings, right? Mm-hmm. He gives you the energy that you need to conduct service.
Right.
I think people who do not have a close relationship with God, they're always the ones that are going to be burning out.
Oh, yeah.
First. But there's people who have seen God do, amazing things in people's lives. They've seen God answer prayers. They've seen, God take them through these various trials. It becomes a point where out of gratitude you serve, and it has nothing to do with how much energy or how tired you are or anything. I think we talked about it when we interviewed Aaron. If you have the ability and capability to serve and God asks you to serve somewhere, I mean, I'm going to say it this way, you better say yes, because he's not asking you to do something out of your control or capability.
Right.
Like
he knows you.
He knows you can do it.
Right.
And the thing is being someone who has served on the worship team in this church for the last 4 years, doing multiple services per day. The craziest thing is when you're serving, you don't feel exhausted. You don't feel any kind of frustration. You don't feel anything. All you're doing is you're doing the task that God gave you to do. And honestly, there's joy and fun that comes along with it. If you're doing the thing that God has called you to do, yes, I mean, there are times when it's painful.
Yeah.
But I would say the majority of time in my experience, every time I've said yes, it's been such a blessing.
Yeah.
It's been such a blessing to see how God works in that ministry or how God works in people's lives, as a result of what you're doing.
Yeah, no, definitely. I agree with the exhaustion too, because you saw me before the Arise benefit,
and I saw you during.
My body was dead because I'd worked all week.
Yeah.
I moved an oven.
Yeah.
When we got ready to do the grief share thing, I came alive. But at the end of that, I was right back to like, man, my body is broken.
Yeah,
but I had a huge spiritual high.
For sure.
And then Saturday morning, we did the craft fair. I was done. But I got to the Arise thing, and it was like, it's on.
Yeah.
Because I feed off that. There's something that happens when I get around other believers. I don't know what it is. I cannot explain it. I probably could have gone another 12 hours on that. I don't know. It's really weird. But like you just said about being called to something like that.
Yeah. I think when we're doing what God has called us to do, for the person that's doing it, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's just fun. Even if it's hard, even if it's dangerous, it's still fun because we're serving our Lord.
Yeah.
I think people forget why they are working for God sometimes.
Yeah.
They forget
we can all
forget
do
that they're working for God.
Yeah.
Like I could get annoyed that for week on end I'm the only bass player for this whole church for Sunday and Wednesday, Sunday and Wednesday, Sunday and Wednesday, Sunday and Wednesday, over and over and over again for months.
But yeah, no, you could get annoyed at that.
I could start complaining.
Yeah, but then you're forgetting why you're doing it.
Right. Quite honestly, man, I get annoyed when I'm not playing.
Like, that's funny.
Like today.
I wondered sometimes
when it's not my
turn.
I'm just like, I don't know what to do with my hands.
I was watching you as you were tapping the seat.
I was just like,
you were literally playing the bass.
Mm-hmm.
It was so funny. You're not sitting next to your brother where you're supposed to be.
And you have to allow for the other people that are part of that ministry to participate as well. And like, I think sometimes sitting out leaves somebody who's in a ministry, it gives you that sense of like, I don't have any purpose right now.
Right.
For example, when we were talking about the grief share and how, I had originally said I want to come to be supportive, I didn't realize in what capacity I was going to be supporting.
This is true. You just knew you were coming.
And I was supportive.
Yeah.
Just not in the way that I thought I was going to be.
Even in your experience with that, you were still just so blown away.
Yeah.
And that's my favorite part is how you were just like, whoa, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You had to sit back for a minute.
I did.
To catch that.
I did. Yeah. And I think sometimes that's how you learn lessons from God, even in those times when it seems like you're not being used. You're still getting used. And it's a weird...
It's an odd
It's a
place.
weird thing because we don't know what God's plans are. And the Bible, says that. He goes, you just don't have any idea what my plans are. There's no way you could figure out what I'm trying to do here.
Mm-hmm.
You said because I stayed upstairs, someone else got to go down. Who knows, like, what kind of implications that has.
Right.
It's just one of those things where sometimes God will sit you down for a minute and he'll say, someone else is going to do this.
Right.
Because I'm trying to teach you something else.
You're going to have a part in it.
Yeah.
But not what you think.
Not the thing that, I think we all have to pray about that because sometimes we think we're doing what God wants us to be doing when he didn't call us to do that. He called us to do something else. You have to really go through that inventory and say, where have I been used? And anytime we try to do things in our own strength, that's when we burn out.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't see the fruit. Right. And sometimes we don't see the fruit anyway. That's why this whole thing is like, we have to do it all in faith because you just never know.
Yeah. And I think it's better that way.
Yeah.
I would, because we always think about like the Billy Graham, right? Billy Graham goes out there and he's speaking to millions of people. They see all these people getting saved, and the normie Christian goes, "Oh, I want to do that." But what you're not seeing are the people behind the scenes
making all that work,
making the food. You don't see the people controlling the lighting. You don't see the ushers making sure that all the seats are filled, that people are in a place where they can sit. You're not seeing the people backstage that are taking on all those people that are weeping, that are looking for prayer. Yeah, maybe they did get saved in the event, but when they're leaving, how many people are in a room gathered with people just praying for people?
I've always wondered that.
I mean, it's so great. I love hearing about these people like Billy Graham, like Moody,
Greg Laurie.
Greg Laurie. I mean, there's tons. There are tons of people that are getting people saved every single day. It's happening all over the place, all around the world.
I've always wondered, though, because unfortunately, you have like at one of those Harvest Crusades in Angel Stadium out there in California, right? They have all the concerts, all the music stuff, and then Greg Laurie, he does his thing. And then at the very end, you have the altar call, quote unquote.
Right.
And you've got everybody walking down to the grass at the bottom of the stadium to get saved. I always wonder how many people stuck with it.
Right.
Because, I mean, I know California is a big state.
Sure.
But you would think, like, after this many years of that happening in the same stadium, California is probably full of Christians by now.
You would think. Apparently.
That's what I'm saying, though, is like.
Apparently, they do have the largest population of Christians.
Well, per capita, for sure.
It's just
there's so many more people.
Like 80% of them don't get involved.
Yeah, I just wonder, like, if it's, if you were swept up in the emotion of it and it didn't really, like, did you really get saved?
Right.
Or was it just?
I remember.
Because something really has to change in your life. I know that Aaron has talked about it. We all made a profession of faith when we were kids and then totally walked away from it.
Sure.
Which I think you can do. It's more than just being a prodigal.
Right.
It's that, the four kinds of soil, where you've got the stony soil where you get that quick little sprout, but then it withers away because it has nothing for it to take root in.
So personal choice, right? You guys went in a different direction.
Yeah.
The three of you guys, I'm talking about the Dudley boys.
Yeah.
So I've thought about this often, and I remember Will saying something along the lines of, if you have given your life to Christ, he said, we have an area where they want you to write down your name, give us your email address. We're not going to send you products and things like that, but if we don't see you, we want to be able to contact you and say, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah.
So previous to going to Calvary Chapel, I went to church when I was a kid. I watched people go up to the altars and all that, but I never once heard a pastor say, give me your phone number so that I can call you to keep up with you, or to have a leader contact you and make sure. So
you think that would have made a difference?
I don't know. So that's what I'm trying to say is, how much is the church as a whole getting people saved, but they're not also checking in and discipling?
That's it. Jesus.
That's where I'm going.
Jesus didn't say
get people saved,
go into the world and make converts.
Right.
He said go and make disciples. So
if we're not checking up,
if somebody preaches the gospel and another person hears it and they believe, well, the job then is to pair them up with somebody and help them walk through this new life.
Yeah.
You know, walk as I have walked, kind of like what Paul says to Timothy or to other people.
Yeah.
You know, imitate me as I imitate Christ, right?
Yeah.
And that's the problem. It's like we're so we're so moved by the thousands of people getting saved or baptized all at once. Like in Mexico, just recently, I read an article where 1,200 people got saved all at once.
Mm.
But it's like, I mean, that's awesome if it really, really did happen, right? I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
because I mean, in Acts it talks about thousands of people getting saved at the same time.
Right.
So we know that can happen. The issue is people don't know how to live a Christian life, even when they do accept Jesus. You know what I mean? Like now you have to teach them. You can't just go and preach your message and get everybody saved and then you're on to the next city. There's got to be somebody there that can walk these people through and show them the right way to go.
There was a pastor, Baptist pastor, being interviewed by Hibbs, and he stated that in some research that was done, something like 60% of evangelical converts don't know what it means to have salvation. Like they can't explain it. They can't explain what Jesus has done for them.
That's awful. I mean, that's the gospel, though. How do you not? How do
You
you
got
hear the
fed the
gospel, and
gospel,
respond to
you
it and
responded to it,
not know it?
and he points out it's because of discipleship. That, okay, they got saved, they know something's happened, they just don't know what, because no one's grabbed them by the hand and said, here, I'm going to walk with you.
Yeah.
We're going to go to church, and that's great, but outside of church, I'm going to be connecting with you.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate.
And that's, that's like the hardest part of ministry of them all. It's not just a commitment for the person who's just newly saved. It's a commitment for the person who is the discipler.
Right.
Because honestly, if you really want to do it the right way, they're in your face all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've got to see you go through
stuff.
Life. It would be better to move them right in your house and eat their meals with you. And I mean, just to see how your life goes. I mean,
Right.
honestly, that would be the best way to do it. But we can't really do that as much in the West, I think, just because of how employment goes and that sort of thing. But
right.
Back in the old, agrarian days where you had to farm for themselves, and it's a lot easier to do that.
Right.
Like, hey, I'm going to go and feed these cows. You're coming with me.
Right. And while we're talking about cows.
Yeah, while we're feeding the cows, we'll talk about Jesus.
Right.
There's other ways we can get around that. I mean, we can definitely fellowship more. We can have those home Bible studies. We can, meet at the church. We don't have to just come on Sundays or Wednesdays,
right?
Because it's a service. It's up to the people that are committed to decide how they're going to do it. The point is, we need to do what Jesus said. And he said, make disciples. That is a much more intimate and roll up your sleeves kind of get in the dirt kind of ministry.
It's very much like, again, going on Will Cass, when we would have a baby dedication, he would always say, hey, this isn't us dedicating the baby to Jesus, or because we didn't, Calvary Chapel doesn't sprinkle, right?
Right.
He said, this is us as a congregation dedicating ourselves to the teaching of the Lord to this child. And I never heard anybody ever say that before. It was, we're the Lord. Well, that's all well and good. How are you doing it? And Will turned it completely around and would say, we're dedicating our lives to this child so that it knows the way and stays on it. It really put the ball back into the court of the congregation, because it's discipleship.
That's right.
How are you teaching this child if you're not going to get involved? So when someone gets saved and they're a quote unquote baby Christian, how are you getting involved in that child's life?
Yeah.
Ooh. Huh? So what a conversation that was. That was a good time.
All right. Well, let's talk about some Take Me Deeper things.
Take Me Deeper podcast is a ministry of Machias Christian Fellowship located on 3 Davis Road, Machias. Our service times are Sunday morning, 6:30, 8:30, and 10:30. We observe communion on the third Sunday of every month. Sunday evenings, junior and senior high youth group meet at MCF from 6:30 to 8 p.m. Monday evenings at 7 p.m., We have the Arise Addiction Recovery meeting on the third Monday of each month. They have a potluck and testimony night, which starts at 6 p.m. We have prayer meeting on Wednesday night at 5:15 p.m., followed by our midweek service Wednesday night at 6:30.
The Bright Arrow Group is a fellowship ministry of MCF. Donations to this ministry can be made through the church website at ccmachias.com. Arise Addiction and Recovery, helping people find freedom from addiction through a personal relationship with our Lord Jesus Christ. For more information on their website at ariseaddictionrecover.com, the church website also has a donation button. Coastal Crowns make handmade hats stitched with care right here in Maine. They are all about that laid-back coastal lifestyle. Built for the dock, the boat, and the weekend grind. Find them on Facebook. Message Coastal Crowns, Dallas Richardson, or Brooke Davis for more information. Frame to Finish Carpentry LLC is a new business started by Joshua Earl. He will be doing carpentry and light construction. We do not have contact information.
Treasures of the Hill is a handmade crafting business of Amanda Hill, editor of this podcast, and my wife. Items include a wide variety of handmade, customizable options. She makes up the merchandise we have available. Check out the website at treasuresofthehill.com or contact Amanda through Facebook on the Treasures of the Hill Facebook page. Thank you for listening to Take Me Deeper. We are now available on SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music. Our Facebook page is Take Me Deeper Podcast, where you can interact with other listeners and the creators. And you can also email us at takemedeeperpodcast@gmail.com.
Waters make our lives under the shelter of the cave. Feels like how we have been retained. Yeah.
Romans chapter 7.
We're in Romans chapter 7. So if everybody wants to get their Romans chapter 7 out.
Romans chapter 7, verse 1. Or do you not know, speak to those who know the law, that the law has dominion over a man as long as he lives? For the woman who has a husband is bound by the law to her husband as long as he lives. But if the husband dies, she is released from the law of her husband. So then if, while her husband lives, she marries another man, she will be called an adulteress. But if her husband dies, she is freed from that law, so that she is no adulteress, though she has married another man. Therefore, my brethren, you also have become dead to the law through the body of Christ, that you may be married to another, to him who was raised from the dead, that we should bear fruit to God. For when we were in the flesh, the sinful passions which were aroused by the law were at work in our members to bear fruit to death. But now we have been delivered from the law, having died to what we were held by, so we should serve in the newness of the Spirit and not in the oldness of the letter. So he's using the example of a earthly marriage to the spiritual one. He's comparing the two. So everybody knows that if you get married and you cheat on your spouse, you're considered an adulterer.
Right.
You're breaking the law of the marriage. You're breaking the vows that you gave each other when you first got married. If you break the law, you're basically killing that marriage. So in the same way, Christ compares the church to the bride, like he calls us the bride. When you hear terms like committing adultery in a spiritual sense, it means that like we're following after a different God or a different vice or whatever. The groom is left with a cheating spouse. That's what this first part's talking about.
I like how Chuck Smith broke this whole thing down by saying, literally, and this is in quotations, my Jewish brothers, death brings freedom from the law.
Yeah.
Because he points out that Jews that were becoming Christians, and even still today, Jews that become Christians believe they still have to keep that law. But Jesus died, and we died in him.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we are free from the law. So this is something that was brought up in a question on Facebook, because I brought up about how you can't break a law that isn't written, right? So because we talked about it a couple podcasts ago about ceremonial laws
Mm-hmm.
versus moral laws,
Right.
Moral laws were already written on your heart.
Yeah.
They didn't have to be written. You knew how to treat another person. But the ceremonial laws, which they ended up adding 613 or so.
Wow, who's counting?
I'm just saying. Which is an interesting thing, because pomegranates were in the temple when it was written down to Moses about pomegranates and the blossoms and this thing, and then a pomegranate, a blossom, and on average, pomegranates have 613 seeds.
Ah.
They can have anywhere between 400 and 1400, but on average 613.
So
I don't know why I bring that up. Because it's just too much fun.
Okay.
But anyway, that's what's happening is Jews have grown up with this law, and you had better be following these laws. So the Christians, they don't realize a difference between the moral law and the ceremonial law because it's all one.
Well, let's talk about the law again for a little bit, because the 10 Commandments are God's ultimate standard, right? And to read any one of them, like, you can't say that those are bad. They're not bad. They're not bad to live by.
No. Absolutely not.
But what the law does, when you really try to live up to the law, I mean, each one of the commandments shows you the flaw that you have in that area.
Exactly.
You have to be confronted with the fact that I am a liar. I have stolen. I have committed adultery. I have killed people. I have not been faithful to God. I have served other gods than him.
Yep.
All these different points. And my goodness, someone drives by with a brand new shiny pickup truck, and you can't tell me you're not following it the whole way down the road, right?
Right.
With your eyes. It's one of those things where the law is going to be part of our lives, like, the whole time we're here.
And it just points out our dependency on God.
Right.
That was the whole point, is you can't do this because you're going to have a moral dilemma.
Right.
And that is why Christ dying and becoming the law, becoming him dying and us dying in him, that's our dependence on him.
Yeah.
We couldn't hold it.
Mm-mm.
So he came and finished it.
Yeah.
He completed it. He becomes our law, and our lives are in him. We don't have to, I did that. Yeah, you did do that.
It's such an amazing. I still, like, flounder. I'm obviously floundering, trying to come up with the words. To think of one man coming to this earth and never committing a sin, like, purposefully, that would be hard enough.
Right.
But then you have the whole part of life where the Bible says we're born into sin because through Adam all have sinned, right? Well, his father wasn't Adam.
Right.
He wasn't born with a sin nature.
Yeah.
He was born with a human nature.
Yep.
So he didn't have that aspect to deal with at all. Sin's wasn't part of his DNA.
Right.
Like it is ours. Whatever that means. I don't know. I mean, that's the mystery. But I mean, the guy, he came to earth and he did it flawlessly. I mean, he was tested on all points. Satan gave him the runaround for sure. He ran right through the gauntlet, and Jesus, like, passed every one of those tests.
In our pre-discussion to the podcast, which did get recorded, I think you and Aaron must have read my notes, because Jews believing that they still had to hold on to the law, our motivation of service is love. So we're following not the law, we're following Jesus. And we are doing for him through love.
Yeah.
Because why?
Well, he loved us first.
And
it's fun serving God. But it's also very, I don't want to say sad, but it can be a lot of work. A lot of work to serve the Lord. It takes a lot out on you emotionally. You get to see all aspects, all walks of life. You see, depravity and sickness and all that, you have to just keep moving on and hope, right? That there's a reason for it all, even though you don't see it. Yeah, that's why we do that. And sometimes you see it taken, and sometimes it doesn't. That's why we do it. Not everyone is going to see it the same way we do.
Right.
You know, and some people are more stubborn. You know, I mean, how many people have a relative who we're still praying for?
Right.
It's like we know they've heard the truth.
Right.
There are times when we say, look at how I used to be and look at how I am now. Isn't that a good enough convincer for you?
Right.
No, it's not. Because they can see your life, but you better be living it as an example.
My wife has a book, like a pamphlet, really. It was written by her great-grandfather, Morley Duras. But in this book, they were poor, and they gleaned fields. He was a pastor. He'd be just walking into a town and he would just start preaching. You know, like Tennant would get a little soapbox out and just start reading. So this Morley fella was kind of like that. So I'm going to get the story way wrong. We have a copy of it. It's pretty funny. But there's this man who was nasty and foul language and just drinker, I think, and just hated everybody. And Morley was talking to him, and a couple weeks later, somebody walked up to him, saw Morley, and was like, "What did you do to so and so?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" They're like, "Well, he's not swearing anymore. He's not mad at everybody." Like, I just told him about Jesus, you know, and well, whatever he did, you messed him all up. You messed up his life or something like that.
You know who that reminds me of? The man in the tombs. You know, when Jesus and the disciples, they crossed the Galilee, they were met by that demoniac.
Threw himself in the fire.
The one he said, you know, he had legion inside of him.
They put him in the pigs.
The people in the city told Jesus to
get out of here.
Get the heck out of here. It's like this guy's all in his right mind, but they lost all their pigs, which Jewish people shouldn't have pigs.
Shouldn't have had pigs. Yep.
Which is kind of a 2-for-1 for Jesus. I always found that part of the passage, most pastors never actually bring that up.
Oh, that it was a twofer?
Yeah.
Yeah. These
are Jewish people who worship Yahweh, and they are raising pigs, which are considered to be unclean.
Yeah, it's like Paul getting annoyed at
that possessed girl.
I love that. Being greatly annoyed, he called the spirit out, and the guy was more mad because he was losing his funds.
Yeah,
not that she was free, you know, or anybody. Nobody was happy that she.
It's because of the source. The gospel shouldn't be getting preached by anyone other than someone who's filled with the Spirit. You know, I'll even use AI in that example. The demon-possessed girl that was chasing Paul and his company around, everything she said was true.
Oh yeah, and he let it go,
right,
until he got annoyed.
Well, he could see it started. It was starting to affect the people around him,
right,
because they were like, "Why is he letting her, like, do that?" You know, and all the focus is turned on this girl instead of the people that are there to minister the gospel.
Because they know her reputation,
right?
I mean, that's part of it. There's witness account of that happening. I mean, Ian and I have talked about it during the home Bible study. Just like you're going to see this over and over and over again. You know, people saying, "Well, show us a sign." Well, we just fed the 5,000, and he shows up and like, "Can you show us a sign?" And I said, "Like what? Feed you on a little boy's snack." You know, which he did. Even says that when he gets to the other side, they're like, "How'd you get over here?" Because they didn't see him get in the boat because he had gone off by himself. The disciples got in the boat. All the other people got in the boat. The disciples got to the end of the shore first. Jesus steps off the boat, and they're like, "Well, even if he left with those people, how did he get on that boat?" You know, so now I've shown you two. Man, we are all that way. I feel like we've gone off from where we were going because that's what we do. But yeah, we're so that way. And I mean, actually, it does work with the law thing.
It does.
Because we expect a certain thing. We live a certain way. And I'll be honest, when Jesus came into my life, he messed me up. It totally messed up my life. Not for bad. He messed me up for good. but I had a way that I thought my life was going to go. And
yeah, everything changes.
Came in and said, like, we've talked about this before. When he came to Saul, and he says, "Oh, I've already told him how he's going to suffer for me."
Yeah.
Well, thanks. That's not what I not what I was looking for. And again, I mean, Aaron saying to Ken, the man of God, if he's to be used by God, needs to be tested by God.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times we are all that way. We all have that. I have this plan, and this is the plan. I've lived this way. This is how life is. And with discipleship,
oh, a good way to bring it all back around.
Right? With discipleship, you can then take someone by the hand and say, hold on tight.
Yeah. Well, that's what
this
you have
is going
do.
to be rough.
Yeah. All right. So we just talked about how we're freed from the law.
Right. We're freed
We're
from
freed
the law.
from the law because we're dead with Christ. Like Christ died, we died with him. If we believe, so we've died with him. If you use a symbolism of baptism, we're raised up a new creation. So the law is back there with our dead man, right? Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Great, I got it. However, you can read
we're going to read 7 through 12 now. What shall we say then? Is the law sin? Certainly not. On the contrary, I would not have known sin except through the law. For I would not have known covetousness unless the law had said, you shall not covet. But sin, taking opportunity by the commandment, produced in me all manner of evil desire. Far apart from the law, sin was dead. I was alive once without the law, but then the commandment came, sin revived, and I died. And the commandment which was to bring life I found to bring death. For sin, taking occasion by the commandment, deceived me, and by it killed me. Therefore the law is holy, and the commandment holy and just and good.
So basically, we just had a really long conversation to hear what we were just saying. That's awesome.
Yep.
The law, even though it's dead, we're still reminded of the law every time we sin.
Every time.
Yeah.
Basically. The law literally just shows us our sin. You do not know you are breaking a law without a law being written, and you can't break it if it isn't written. But once it is, and you know about it, my wife and I talk about this a lot. You go to a new school.
Yeah, you got to learn all their new
rules. You're wearing your hat. Yeah. Because in your old school, you could wear a baseball cap. Right. And you're just walking around with your baseball cap, and they say, you can't wear that. Oh, I'm sorry. That should be your immediate. I didn't know. New school, new kid. Let me take the hat off. But the next day,
you come in wearing your hat.
Yeah.
Now you know. Now you're making a choice to rebel against that rule.
Yep. The law is good. We are not. Romans 3:12. They have all turned aside. They have become unprofitable. There is none who does good. No, not one. It's not going to, the law's not going to save you. That's not what it's there for.
No, it's there to show you where your sin is. It's there to show you, where all your failures are. So honestly, the law can't work unless sin exists in a way. Right? Even on your best day, you still have this pesky law to contend with.
I find it funny when I first read it because I would not have known covetousness unless the law said you shall not covet. Because coveting, that's not the action, because covetousness can lead you to, I want that and I'm going to go get it. Right? So the covetousness is just that constant, man, I really wish I wish I could.
Yeah.
Right? So I was talking about how the moral law is written on your heart, but I guess before you knew that a mental thing
is before you steal, it's before you murder.
Right.
It's the thought that starts off the whole chain of dominoes.
Right. It's funny because it was Jesus who said, even if you think murder, you've done it. Right?
So that's, so that actually does cover the covetousness part of it.
And then, was it James who said that if you even lust with a woman in your heart, you've committed adultery? Was it James?
Well, I think Jesus talked about that too.
Yeah.
If you think about a woman with lust in your heart, you've committed adultery.
Well, you want to categorize, don't you? Like, oh, I only thought about it.
Mm.
I didn't do it. I was only thinking about it.
Yeah.
How many times do you hear your kids say that when they're little? I didn't do it. I was just thinking about it.
My kids just did it.
I've got
They never
honest.
thought about it.
I've got an honest 6-year-old. When she's looking at a cookie, it's like, don't even touch that. I was just thinking about it.
Mm.
Yeah, I like that. That's added in there. That
I love how it says at the end though it says, therefore the law is holy and the commandment holy and just and good.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is. I mean, it's God's perfect standard. So it has to be holy and just and good.
Mm.
It just shows me how much I'm not any of those things. Right? Like on my own, without God involved, I am horrible.
Yeah.
And the law points that out in all of its 4K ultra high definition, bright light, spotlight, laser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Laser.
All right. So let's go with the next section here. The law cannot save from sin. 7:13. Has then what is good become death to me? Certainly not. But sin, that it might appear sin, was producing death in me through what is good, so that sin through the commandment might become exceedingly sinful. For we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. For what I am doing I do not understand. For what I will to do, that I do not practice. But what I hate, that I do. If then I do what I will not to do, I agree with the law that it is good. But now it is no longer I who do it, but the sin that dwells in me. For I know that in me, that is my flesh, nothing good dwells. For to will is present with me, but how to perform what is good I do not find. For the good that I will to do, I do not do, but the evil I will not to do, that I practice. Now, if I do what I will not to do, it is no longer I who do it, but sin that dwells in me. I find then a law that evil is present with me, the one who wills to do good. For I delight in the law of God according to the inward man. But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind, and bringing me into captivity of the law of sin which is in my members. O wretched man that I am, who will deliver me from this body of death? I thank God through Jesus Christ our Lord. So then, with the mind I myself serve the law of God, but with the flesh of the law of sin.
We are carnal, and even the law's intentions had to be explained by Jesus because the Pharisees misinterpreted the law to the people. Matthew 5-7, for those of you who want to go in a really good search. The old covenant depended on our obedience in keeping the law, and the new depends on our belief in his righteousness. Because the law cannot save. It's good. We discussed that already in the last set. The law is good, it's just, and it's perfect. But nowhere does it ever say at the end of any of the laws, if you follow this law, you will be saved.
Right.
None of it ever says that. One of the laws comes with a promise, right? You know, and then there's other parts of the laws that say, if you do this, your women will give birth and you'll have your home and you'll have this. But if you don't do these things, your women are going to miscarry and someone else will have her as a wife and you'll lose your house.
And the locusts will eat your
field. And it's not salvation.
My brothers and I, we have a little text group. We were talking about Romans 7 because, I was excited about this show coming up and I was studying for it. And I ended up summarizing what Romans 7 actually, like how it
I think you sent that to me.
So I'm going to read that. So in a nutshell, this is kind of what Romans 7 is saying to me. And what I said was, I'm not under the law, but it is valid for as long as I live. Jesus fulfilled the law, thereby making it dead. But my flesh is still sinful, and I will sin no matter what, even if I don't want to. So I have to recognize another law given to me by Jesus and walk under that one until I am freed from this body of death.
There you go.
So that's what Paul was saying, was the law in his mind is the one where he follows after God. But the one that's in his flesh is the one that wars against his mind and wants to sin. And what Paul was saying was he can't seem to get it right.
Right.
He's not going to have any success in getting it right until someday we're not here anymore and we're in with God.
Black Honey.
Black Honey.
Thrice.
Oh yeah, that's a good band.
I just can't get it right.
Mm.
Whoa.
I mean, they must have been reading Romans.
Because he keeps swatting at the swarm of bees. Because he wants honey on his table.
Yeah.
You can't figure out why they're always stinging him.
Yeah, sin.
Bro.
That's some imagery right there for you.
It really is.
Yeah.
If you have not heard the song, the song is called Black Honey by a band called Thrice. Watch the music video. It's pretty intense.
Mm-hmm. It's not country.
It is not. It is not.
No.
They were a skater band back in the day.
We were a skater band back in the day.
You were a skater band.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was in the 90s.
It was.
Yeah.
Post-grunge.
You guys were a wholesome Christian band.
No, we're not. No, we weren't. Although I have thought about, I would love to get our old guitar player and the three of us together to play some of our old songs, but to change the lyrics. I think John could do it.
Old guitar player?
Yeah, our guitar player, Steve, that was in our old band.
Oh, you had another guy.
We had a 5-piece band.
You had a 5-piece band. See, I was just the three of you.
No, we had the three of us, my friend Steve, and then we had one of my brother's friends from high school. His name was Jason. Steve and Jason were the main guitarists.
Oh.
And then John would play his guitar once in a while, like on some solo songs that he would play, like when we weren't like cranking. He was like playing his mellow, very melancholy, dark stuff. Like I'm telling you.
So this other guitarist guy, though, he's become a Christian too?
Yeah. Well, his parents were missionaries in New Zealand
for
a really long time, and we all went to church together, and we all sing together too.
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. This is a guy I shared an apartment with him in Bangor when we were, doing stuff. He plays guitar for Charleston Church right now. It would be fun to get him out here and do some songs with us. Although I don't think our congregation can handle it.
It's not country.
No, it's not country.
Verse 15, which we tripped over a couple of times here already. No, it's because for what I am doing, I do not understand. For what I will to do, that I do not practice, but I hate that I do. Chuck Smith said the struggle is real until he realized the law was spiritual. Because we don't war with flesh and blood.
Principalities and powers.
Only the Christian has this conflict with flesh and spirit. We try to bring the flesh into captivity and obedience. While the unbeliever is in harmony with the flesh, we still have the sin nature, but an overwhelming desire also to serve God.
Yeah.
Boy, that pulls.
It's the most confusing patch of scripture, I think, in all of the Bible. But at the same time, it's the most simple. It's basically just saying...
It really is.
It's just saying we have two warring natures as believers.
Right.
You have the nature that is spiritual, that's connected with God, where we want to serve him and pay him back for such mercy.
Right.
And grace. We want to give back to him, and we want to live with him forever someday. But then we also still live in this body of flesh, and we still have to fight against all of our natural carnal impulses, right? And it's like working out. You practice saying no to your flesh until it becomes easier, but you can't ever let up on it. It's a daily thing.
Yep. Will used to say, which fighter are you training? And he probably didn't come up with it. I think he said who did. But it's like you have two fighters.
Well, it's the two wolves.
I didn't hear wolves. I've heard the
You've
two.
You've got the one that is full of love and peace and kindness, and the other one that's full of hatred and murder and envy.
Oh, wow.
The Native American version, it's the younger guy asked the older man which one wins. Because he said there's two wolves inside me. Which one wins? And he said, whichever one I feed.
The way I heard it was just, two boxers.
Mm-hmm.
You train one, and you give him the right foods and the right vitamins, and he's exercising. But you have the second fighter, you're giving him donuts.
Mm-hmm.
He's not working out. Maybe once a week. He's not. He's watching TV. He's watching fights.
Yeah.
But he's not standing in front of the bag. And then you put them both in the ring.
One's going to win,
One's going to win. One is going to lose. I just had this conversation with somebody at work. I said, it's a weird thing, but the original Karate Kid,
Mm.
Ralph Macchio and Mr. Miyagi. I can never remember his real name. They trained all these people in the movie real martial arts, right? But Daniel and Miyagi, they trained them in a peaceful way and how to do self-defense. Everything was flowy and light.
Mm-hmm.
But they had them away from these other kids in the movie and the bad guy, and they trained them hard. They ran. They didn't. Mr. Miyagi and Daniel got special food, but these guys over here didn't. I mean, they had a tight regiment, exercise, running, and they were being trained to destroy,
Mm-hmm.
like literally. And the guy training them said, "You see those two guys over there? You hate them because they have what you don't have." So when the movie was going along, there were points when Ralph Macchio was like, "I think these guys are really trying to kill me," because they were. And at the end of the movie, then they brought them together and told them what they did, and they're like, "Man, like you could have warned somebody, but they wanted it to be authentic."
Mm.
But anyway, the training of the two fighters. You have your flesh and you have your spirit.
Mm.
If you're constantly feeding your flesh, or even giving it a little bit of a foothold, because we think like, oh yeah, but I went to church on Sunday, I went to church on Wednesday.
Doesn't balance it out. We try to. I mean, that's a very Catholic. Well, it's a very religious
It's
way
very
to
religious.
explain or justify what we do. Like, we try to do a little more good to balance out all the bad we've done.
Uh-huh.
I mean, we just read this. All have sinned, and
Mm.
all have fallen short. It doesn't matter what we do. We're always going to have sin to contend with.
Mm-hmm.
It's not until we put our faith in Jesus and accept His righteousness that's the only way out for us. There's no balancing. The balancing was already done. Like, and not only that, but it's like there's no way we could ever pay back the sin debt that we owe.
Right.
We just can't do it. It's too much.
I mean, I feel the same way with, great, you got your kids in church a couple days a week, but you're sending them to school 5 days a week, and then they're locked in their rooms doing their homework, and then you have them for what, an hour before they go to bed?
I think, wasn't it? Yeah, that's true. Wasn't it the other day when it was yesterday? I dropped that ladder off to you, and we were joking around about talking about serving.
Yeah.
And I made some funny joke about how we think that like 15 minutes of sweeping the floor is good enough, way for us to pay God back. It's like that's not the point. You know what I mean? It's like it doesn't matter how much work and how much service we do. That's not why we serve.
Right. Does your spiritual inward self love and desire to obey God and His law?
That's a good question.
Well, you kind of pushed me into that one.
Yeah.
Because you can think, I did my good thing, but is the desire the love?
Well, I think everyone has to come to that conclusion, obviously, on their own.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
It's one of the things that you're told to think about whenever we take communion. What are your motivations? And don't try to hide it. God can see. He sees through everything. Like God doesn't care if you're wearing a hat in church. He looks right straight through into your heart. He knows even the reason why you take communion in church.
Right.
Are you doing it because if you don't take communion, then people are going to know you don't take communion.
Right.
So you're taking it just to like
fit in.
You're doing it to like not draw attention to yourself. Everything is looked at by God for the motivational reason. That's what He's interested in. And I think that there are times when every believer, their inner man is not closely lined up with what God's will is. We all have those moments, right? That's a very convicting, like once you realize that, man, I am not living for God. And unfortunately, I don't really care what He thinks about me right now. If you ever get to that point in your thought life, when you're thinking about your spiritual health, I mean, that's when it's time to fall on your knees and really get before God. And you got to ask for forgiveness. You got to get back with it.
There was a word I was trying to look up and I couldn't. It goes along with motivation. When you're trying to overtake a captain or a leader because you have ambitions, that's the word I was looking for. He's very ambitious. But yeah, I mean, like you just said, I mean, God can see your ambitions, your motivations, and your desires.
Yeah.
And you may be able to even hide some of those aspects from other people, but We just said it earlier. You can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. You may be able to fool a few people here and there, even in church, but eventually people are going to be able to see through that. The flesh always wants to do the opposite and wills to put the spirit under the control of sin. In verse 24, he says, "Oh, wretched man, who will deliver me?"
Yeah.
It's like saying, "Oh, the release from sin and death. Dragging this dead body everywhere I go is tiring."
Let's expand on that, because as I've been studying this chapter, a lot of the pastors that I've been listening to and reading, they talk about that Roman practice of, if you murdered someone, the penalty for that in a lot of
Chained
instances,
to another dead man.
they would tie up a dead body to you, and you'd have to you couldn't get released from it. Eventually all the rot from that body would
on you.
It would transfer over to you, and you would end up dying horribly.
Horribly.
When Paul asks, "Who will deliver me from this body of death?" I mean, he was literally comparing a practice that actually happened, and
he would know,
and he would. I mean, he was seeing the spiritual application of that.
Yeah, I mean, he put enough people in that situation; he would know
for sure. Yeah,
I thank God through Jesus Christ our Lord. So then, with the mind I myself serve the law of God, but with the flesh the law of sin. We do not need to be defeated. In the help of the Father through Christ, there is a way. 1 Corinthians 10:12-13. Therefore, let him who thinks he stands take heed, lest he fall. No temptation has overtaken you except such that is common to man, but God is faithful, who will not allow you to be tempted beyond what you are able, but with the temptation will also make a way of escape that you may be able to bear it. I will also throw out that's a verse that's often taken out of context, because we have people that are no longer living, like Mother Teresa. I know God doesn't give you more than you can handle. That's not what that says.
Right.
What it's saying is, if you are living for Jesus, those temptations are going to... Jesus was tempted
3 times.
3 times. God does give you more than you can handle, because we have to rely on him. We've just gone over this 100 times in this podcast, that the law only shows us our dependence on God. The temptations are going to come, and he's already given the escape from those temptations.
Yeah.
So it's not that he's not going to give you more than you can handle. It's, you're going to be tested. You still have to choose.
Yeah, for sure.
So I wanted to make sure that I kind of clarified that as much as I could. When I read that verse, that was the verse that came to my mind, was just because you think you're standing, those temptations are going to come.
Yeah, take heed.
Take heed.
It's very common when people get through something that was really tough, and they're back up on the top of that mountain. And man, the first time you stop thanking God for, or recognizing, that God helped you through it, is when that temptation strikes again. When you think it was all about you.
Right.
I think we talked about this a little bit earlier, like, look what I did.
Oh, yeah.
That right there is the biggest open door for the enemy to attack you. You might as well just paint a bullseye on your back. That's chapter 7.
That is chapter 7.
Right. Hopefully we didn't butcher it too bad.
We want to thank everybody for making this possible. We are, at last look, we are at 993 listens.
That's amazing.
It's ridiculous.
Yep. I have noticed, though, that we still only have 4 5-star reviews on Spotify.
That's probably everywhere. Get some likes out there.
It doesn't take much. You just click on the review button, and there's like 5-star symbols.
Yeah.
And you just
slide.
You just click all the stars. And when they're all filled up, then you say submit.
Yep. That's it.
And it helps us.
Yeah. And you can hit that follow button, too.
The follow button. Hey, I wanted to give a shout out to somebody today. I told him I would. So this guy's name is Harry Fouts, and he is a guy that I used to hang out with on the Disciple Rocks message board way back in the day. He used to go by the name Beowulf. It's a long time ago.
Okay.
We've been chatting, and man, I love my disciple friends. Never met them in person, but seems like it's like family. I love it.
It is funny how that happened.
We still stay in contact. It's just awesome. I've watched people grow up in Christ and start families and have kids. And one of my buddies, like all of his kids are all grown up and in college now. And I don't know, I think one of them has even graduated college. It's been quite a thing, but man,
Nothing makes you feel older than watching someone who had a small child and they're having kids.
yeah. Well, it's weird too because I had a small child that has grown up and is now in college. I don't even think about it, but to see someone else's, it just blows me away. You know?
Yeah,
It's just crazy.
it is
Like,
crazy.
no, I'm not allowed to be that old.
Well, you're older than me.
Not by mine. You're getting yeah,
I guess that's it, huh?
yeah.
You sent me something? Oh, that's right, Daniel.
Oh, the breakdown.
Yeah, Daniel gave me a little bit of a searching of 77.7% Catholics in Mexico, and only 11% claim to be Christian. There are over 200 distinct denominations in the United States, with approximately 70% of Americans claiming to be Christians, which includes Protestants 45%, Roman Catholic 22%, and 23% just Christians.
That's crazy.
I want to know if they're like, oh no, I'm just a Christian.
Are you a Christian or a Christian?
Oh, dude, did I tell you someone
Yeah.
asked me? Okay, that's where that comes from.
Yeah.
Are you a Christian or are you a Christian?
I'm a Christian.
I'm a
I don't know what you're
Christian.
talking
I don't know what you mean.
I also wanted to say,
Oh boy,
Ben, your mouse pad is on the way.
Oh.
Hopefully you've gotten it by now. But
it went out Wednesday,
awesome.
so he should be getting it either tomorrow or Tuesday. I think
This is November 30th.
This is November 30th.
By the time he hears this, he will have
He'll have it.
received his mouse pad. Anyway, Ben, I hope you enjoy your mouse pad.
I want a picture of Ben holding it up to his face, and so I can actually see what he actually looks like.
That would be awesome.
A selfie with Nate on a mouse pad. I hope he sees the thing right there.
Yeah. He will.
He'll see it. He has.
We put something special on that mouse pad for you, Ben. I'm sure you know by now.
He knows. I was listening to something called The Breakdown a while back. The Breakdown came out on like a Wednesday, but it was a breakdown of the Sunday. When it came out, they said if you guys could pray about that message on Sunday, that would be amazing. But then the guy's like, yeah, but the message already happened. He goes, yeah, but in God's eyes, he said, so if the people pray for it because it happened on Saturday, who knows what'll happen.
Okay, so let me throw something out at you. So you're talking about physics again, quantum physics, which is one of my favorite subjects, even though I'm horrible at math. I like the concepts. So when you're reading the epistles, and when Peter, James, and Paul, and whoever else, when they say, pray for us in this city, when I first got saved, I prayed for them.
Right.
Because the way I see it, God's outside of time. He can see me praying now and have it affect change back then if he wants to. I know that's really sci-fi, but honestly, though, to God, time is nothing. Time is just a physical property of the universe that he created. So I don't understand why. I know it just doesn't feel right to us to do it, but when it says to pray for the saints and stuff,
right?
It's like, why don't we just pray for the saints? It's a weird thing because we know what ends up happening to them all.
Right.
You know, a lot of them get martyred or put in prison. But at the same time, like...
But when they sent that letter out, they don't know...
A lot of stuff had happened between that.
Were they even in that town anymore?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's one of those things where...
So if the people, we're going to pray for Paul and Barnabas and all these other guys, we're going to pray. And they pray for them, but they might not even have been...
Right.
Who knows where they were?
Right.
By the time the letter got out...
It's months after. Yeah.
So is it really far-fetched for someone of a pastor to say, hey, I know we're doing this on Saturday?
Well, I just don't want anyone to hear that and think I'm teaching some kind of weird doctrine.
Oh, no.
I'm just saying, like, if you were to think of it from a purely scientific and logical perspective, and you know that God dwells outside of time and space, to him, that's not a big deal.
Right. Isn't that weird?
It's so weird. And like I said, I haven't done it. but when I first got saved, I did. I don't know if it's like, I don't think it's heretical or anything.
I don't think so.
I mean, we're not supposed to pray for the dead.
Right. True.
You know, it's one of those things where it's like, in my mind, it made sense back then.
Right.
I didn't know if me praying was going to affect anything or not. But
R-
when they tell you to pray, like they wrote this letter to us, it's to us, right? So
Yes.
I prayed,
There
like
you
you
go.
said to.
Yeah.
I was like, this is weird, but I'm
gonna do it.
I don't know. Maybe we'll get a couple of pastors to chime in on this and see what they have to say.
Right. Charlie, help us out.
Put in a word for us, buddy. So, how was your Thanksgiving?
I woke up not super early, but Alexa, my oldest daughter, had also woken up, and her sisters, I think, were hanging out in the back room or something. And I said, "We're not leaving to go see my mom for a while." I said, "So, do you want to watch this last Alfred Hitchcock movie with me? Because the other girls aren't going to be interested." It was To Catch a Thief. And she's like, "Yeah, I got 5 minutes left in this chapter, and I'll come out and watch." And so we watched that. And then we watched Charlie Brown, Thanksgiving, Charlie Brown's Mayflower.
Mm-hmm.
We watched an iCarly, and then we went to my mom's, and we had communion and turkey. And
Okay, you just. So I have to say, you sent me a picture of. You sent me a picture of
you're like, what is
six glass. I couldn't
Seven.
tell. I couldn't tell what they were.
Yeah.
I was like,
What the heck
I was
are
like-
these? They were upside down on a napkin
I was like,
because
I'm
they
like,
had just
he
cleaned
does this
them.
to me all the time. He sends me stuff with no reference.
No explanation.
And I'm like, I don't know what he's asking me to. I don't know. I'm like, it drives me crazy. I don't get non sequiturs. I don't get it. And I'm like,
He's like, I need context.
You know what this means? Like, is it just me? Like, they're like, I don't know what that is. They look like these little. They just look like these little glass. Well, they were upside down, so they look like those little glass bottles that you put essential oils in. I didn't know they were. I didn't know they were communion cups. just the way that they look. So I was like, I'm like, because we were talking about Elf, and you said a family tradition. I thought you were talking about Elf,
right?
Because that's the last thing we talked about.
Yep.
Anyway, I was just like, I was so flustered. So flustered at that.
I need context, he goes.
I do.
I said they're communion glasses, and he's like, oh.
He does that to me all the time.
Yeah. So we did communion.
That's cool though.
We had turkey and cake and potato and cookies,
everything.
Then we got home about 6:30 or something like that, and then hung out until we went to bed.
We were gonna have our in-laws come out, but Jen got really sick. She got that nasty cough that I had gotten the week before, and we were just kind of concerned about passing it along to her parents because they're older than us.
Yeah.
And they decided they weren't gonna make the 2.5-hour drive to spend the day with a bunch of sick people. So thankfully, Jen had made a lot of the side dishes the day before. So it was just a matter of heating them up, cooking them. And then I did so many dishes on Thursday. I can't even tell you. I think I did every dish in the house twice. But we had a good day. Every once in a while, we do it with just our family, and it was cool because how many times do we ever sit around the table and eat all together as a family anymore? That was nice. And then we all sat. We always sit and watch Elf together. I mean, that's like how we kick off the Christmas season in our house. I'm a major humbug until Thanksgiving. Like, if you start playing Christmas music before Thanksgiving, I get grumpy because I want to enjoy each holiday as it comes and experience what does this particular day mean. And I just don't like that. It's just commercial.
Yeah.
It's the commercialism. I don't like the rush we put on ourselves. People are already decorated for Christmas at the beginning of November. As soon as Halloween is over, they're selling Christmas trees. And
when I was a kid, my dad used to decorate the windows with window stickies.
Yeah.
And it was Halloween, and then he would take those pumpkins, and he kept all the carvings for the eyes on those.
He'd stick them back in.
And he put them back in, and then because you had whatever for Halloween, but a lot of the things you could redress them and
Mm.
make them look like pilgrims. So he had the window sticker would go from Halloween to Thanksgiving, and it would stay like that for about a week after Thanksgiving, and slowly he would add Christmas type stuff to the Thanksgiving thing. It was pretty incredible. He would slowly take away the Halloween stuff and add
Yeah,
the Thanksgiving, and then he would slowly add Christmas stuff to that.
I love that. I know I'm a minority, but I'm one of those people who I like to savor, what's special and unique about each holiday.
I agree.
To me, like Thanksgiving is kind of the gateway to Christmas, but I still think it's important to leave it in its proper place.
We watched our first Christmas movie yesterday. It's a Wonderful Life.
Mm.
I didn't know which one to start with. I was like, man, what's going to be the first? And I looked at
We
my
watched A Christmas Carol with George C. Scott.
I like Scrooge with Albert Finney. It's like my favorite.
That's the old one.
It makes me cry, It does. That scene.
It's more of the theatrical version.
And it's musical.
I'm not a big musical guy.
That scene when he wakes up and he opens that window. What day is it? It's
Christmas
Day.
Day.
Christmas Day. And he holds Tiny Tim, and he treated him like he was his own son, He had a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And then you watched Elf.
We did.
Did we watch anything when we got home? No. Oh, yeah, we were going to watch The Grinch. No. The original.
I was going to say.
The Jim Carrey one's funny, but...
I can't even... I have never watched it from start to finish.
Yeah.
And I can't because they ruined The Cat in the Hat.
Yeah.
They made it something that it was never supposed to be. I was concerned that they were going to do that with The Grinch as well, and I think that they did.
They kind of did.
They added stuff into it that's just...
It didn't have to be there.
And it's just to make it a full-length movie,
Mm-hmm.
There's something so...
And then they made one with Benedict Cumberbatch, too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I mean, that one's actually okay.
I don't think I watched the whole thing through.
I
know I've seen it twice.
I didn't watch it all the way through either, but there's something to be said about the originals. Ian and I, we talk about this all the time. There's a lot of movies that don't need remakes.
Right.
It's just lazy on the part of Hollywood that we have to remake all these movies.
I'm tired
I know we're rabbit trailing like crazy.
We really are. I also hate when Disney does we're going to make this live action.
Well, that's the same thing.
No, you're not.
But the thing is, they get a chance to retell the old movie when they do it live action. And they bring all this wokeness, and it's all agenda driven, and the purity of those original cartoons is totally gone.
Yeah.
Totally gone.
Huge Scooby-Doo fan. The original Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
They held a record for being on TV the longest.
Mm-hmm.
And then The Simpsons overtook that by quite a bit. But to get their record back, they made all these new Scooby-Doos. Well, I watched one, and it was a remake of the old one with a slightly different twist to it or something. I went through and started looking at just the titles of these old ones. They changed the titles, but they remade all the old shows.
Really?
That's all they did.
Oh.
I was so mad. I'm like, I love Scooby-Doo, and you're going to go and you're going to completely mess it up. But anyway. Talk about a rabbit trail. But yeah, no, it was Rod Serling who said in an interview a long time ago, you can find it on YouTube, where he hated TV shows because good guy almost catches bad guy, we'll see you next week. But his TV show, Twilight Zone, was a different show every week.
Mm.
It was not the same characters.
There was nothing formulaic
and he said, today's writing is lazy.
Yeah.
Nobody has anything new. And he said all it's doing is creating the mundane. And he said that back in like 1967 or something. So
he's not wrong.
No, he was not wrong.
I mean, I'd love to see an original movie out of Hollywood.
Good luck.
I mean, it's like they've run out of ideas.
I didn't know the original Marine, which had John Cena, I think. The Marine. I think they're on like number 7. And so they just pick a different WWE star to be in this. Oh, hey, you. We're going to make another one. I don't know. Nothing new under the sun.
Yeah. Well, here's one that I read that I actually hope that they do it. The Aragon series. You ever read those?
We saw the first one. My wife hated
that movie
it.
was awful.
She hated it. She loved the Bucks.
Everything about the Aragon movie The only thing they got right was the color
title.
of the color of the dragon and the name of the main character. Everything was wrong.
Yep. My wife agrees.
Because they made the movie too early.
Right.
They didn't understand the significance of some of the characters in the first book, you know, and they did not do it justice. All right, we gotta finish this up.
Yeah. What do you do for Christmas?
What do I do for Christmas?
Yeah, what do you guys do for Christmas? We're completely new here, so like we're trying to figure out what we're doing.
Oh, for the church?
What do you? I mean, sure. What does the church do?
We all go to the high school and we have a Christmas Eve service with the other area churches. They all come. We do music. Mostly it's music, and then each of the pastors will talk about a different aspect of the Advent from different parts of the Bible, like Isaiah and things like that. It's a little different every year, but it's always a lot of fun. Really, really fun.
It'd be good to be up here for that.
Yeah.
I think we missed it last time because it was a storm or something.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
It was storming that night.
Yeah. But what do you guys do as a family do you guys get like this, everybody get together, or?
We typically have, I don't know, 2 or 3 different family gatherings. You know, we meet with my dad's side of the family for a little bit, or my mom's. And we have a great big family Christmas party, and then we go and we have our Christmas party with Jen's family. I think we're going to Orrington this year, and then on Christmas Day, the kids used to try to get up before us, but now my wife and I wake up and we are up early. The kids all sleep in now. Yeah, so what we do is my wife makes monkey bread.
I'm coming over.
She makes.
I love monkey bread.
That. Sometimes it's in a ring, sometimes it's just in the pan.
I don't care.
And then we will do our stockings and all that, and that part's fun. And then I'll read the Christmas story from the Bible, Luke 2. And then we do our gifts, and then we just spend the rest of the day just kind of like talking to people on the phone and enjoying our new presents and, things like that. But we just hang out together. It's fun.
We do our nativity on Christmas Eve.
Mm-hmm.
Like just before bed, I'll read the account in Luke.
Yeah.
Really careful to let the kids know that Jesus was 2 by the time
the wise men
show up. Yeah. I think we do communion on Christmas morning. That's another time that we do that. And then we bake a cake for Jesus, and the girls decorate it. Let me warn you, anybody that has my kids over and you say, hey, we're going to decorate a cake, make sure that you don't just give them a whole tub of sprinkles, because they will all end up on the cake.
Oh boy.
Oh, one time, luckily my wife took a picture of it, said, happy birthday, Jesus, because after that you couldn't read a thing. She's like, oh, I know they were going to do this. I'm like, that's a lot of sugar.
It's not what would Jesus do. It's what would Jesus eat.
Not that.
He'd be like,
Mom, I'm going into a coma.
Bless you.
I want to thank everybody for being here with us and hanging out with us. And I hope you got something out of this. Yeah, it's an honor to be able to just read the word with whoever's listening. I, for one, I get a lot out of it just sitting here. That's our hope, is that people are just getting something from it. Until next time, this has been Take Me Deeper Earth. I am Casey Hill.
I'm Nate Dudley.
And God bless each and every one of you.
Grace and peace.
Like I come in a storm and share your love. Walk with me. I'm pursued like a dark cloud that brought no land and rain to the land of love. And in my heart, sweet Messiah, come and rescue me. Triumphant King of Majesty, honor and power, glory be. Jesus, take my heart. Lord Jesus, take my heart. Lord Jesus, take my heart and bring me to life.
that is it for today. Well, for this morning. I'll stream again tonight. And thank you for watching and listening to the Take Me Deeper podcast. And I hope you have a blessed morning. God bless you. And I will see you tonight.